A lot of scandalous activities have actually been happening inside Ghana, my own country, ladies and gentlemen, and this one is actually going to shock you and also stand you massively. Guess what? This particular man that you're actually watching here happens to be a Ghanaian, a legitimate citizen of Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, this man has actually decided to sell out his own 3-year son to some people for them to actually use the child according to how they actually want to use the child. I mean, I will share all the the details with you in this particular video, so make sure that again to stick around to the end to better understand the reasons why this man actually decided to sell the the son. And guess what? I also talk about President Mahama here. This man has actually done something shockingly. Trica, his case was actually just dropped yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. Including these particular thieves here who actually scale a wall to steal some mobile phones in a church here in Ghana. I will share everything with you, okay, step by step, so make sure that you spend a bit time with me. Okay, now before I actually get started, ladies and gentlemen, I always say that it will take just less than 1 second to like this video, so please like this video, and if you actually sign in for the first time, please don't forget to actually subscribe to become part of this particular community. Okay, thank you so much. Now, good news for Ghanaian youth, most especially to the grassroots for NDC. Now this guy has actually returned to office
to work. I keep saying that we are all human beings, and so long as I have flesh and blood running through my veins, at any point in time, anyone can fall sick. It's part of nature. I mean, it's part of nature that you can be sick, you can be healthy. And so when I hear people say, oh, Basintale is sick, Basintale is dead, and all of that, anybody can die. You can die, I can die. Anybody can fall sick. With death, it's got nothing to do with how mighty or how powerful you are.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that's just a short and a concise message from Malik Basintale after resuming in office, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's quickly go and discuss this issue about this particular man here. Okay, this man, I call him irresponsible father to this particular 3-year-old son. Okay, this man actually attempted here in Ghana to sell out his own 3-year-old child at just 1 million Ghana cedis, ladies and gentlemen. And his reasons for attempting to do this are going to shock you. He said he's actually facing a lot of financial difficulties, difficulties and hardship. So that was his reason for him to attempt to sell out his own biological or blood son. And the person or the parties that this guy was actually trying to sell out his son to are people who are actually into this rituals. You understand me? So this guy was actually selling his 3-year-old son to them, and of course, thank God, the case was actually reported, confidentially to the Ghana Police Service, and they also worked diligently until they actually arrested the man. And this man is actually going to face a legal trial here in Ghana, and I believe that finally maybe they are going to make sure that they jailed him. To me, my concern or my concept, if they actually jail him, that would be a good point, because it is not actually acceptable. I condemn this strongly, ladies and gentlemen. It is not actually acceptable for you to go ahead and sell your own son, or let's say to sell someone because you are facing financial difficulties. Who does that? I mean, this is the first time, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm actually hearing a scandalous activities like this. I mean, activity like this from a father of a son. You're going to sell out your son, not to even good people, but people who are actually into rituals. Ladies and gentlemen, isn't it good practice for a father to do this? So I condemn this, ladies and gentlemen, that it is not acceptable, it is not bearable anywhere that you should actually do that. Actually, the child is not a goat. The child is not an animal, a sheep that you can actually sell it out. It is a human being for that matter. And since he is a human being, he's an asset to the nation of Ghana. So this man, if he is actually indeed going to face a trial here in Ghana, and finally they can actually go ahead and then imprison him, ladies and gentlemen, I support this idea, because what the father actually attempted to do against the child is absolutely not wrong, and no one, no law, no state is actually going to condone this. What do you actually think about this development? Let us actually know your thoughts about it at the comment section. Okay, so guys, let's quickly talk about Trica. Yesterday he actually reappeared in the circuit court in Accra for his case to be proceeded, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? Now his sister was very emotional because the proceeding, the his was extradition was proceeding was actually was held, everything was yesterday. And of course, even according to his own was lawyer, he says something, and I actually want to quote, and we can better was learn something better, ladies and gentlemen, from this. You can actually remember the fact that they actually was arrested was Abu Trica, claiming or charge him for Roman was no scam, and other was no scamming, which actually was going to earn him, more than what 8 million United States of Americans was no dollars. Ladies and gentlemen, you can remember, right? So Roman scam is actually part of the charges, or one of the charges. So now his lawyer actually says something, and I believe that this man actually was made sense in this was speech here. Okay, now just in front of the court. Okay, this is what he said. He said, if you agree to be with someone and you send them was no money, what is the romance was no scam in that? If that can be termed as romance was no scam, then all the slave queens must be was not arrested. This is what his was lawyer actually said, and I quoted. Okay, so he said, if you can agree as a woman to be with someone, or as a man to be with someone, and you send that particular person, or man or woman, money, what is the romance come in this or about this, ladies and gentlemen? So if this can actually be termed as a romance was no scam, now definitely all the slave queens in Africa and other parts of the world, they must be arrested, because this man actually believed that the romance scam that these people actually said, that charged against was Abu Trica, and for that matter arrested him. He actually believed that it is was categorically was not wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what he actually meant. So this guy is actually happened to be a ghetto leader, and in other words, some people call them thieves or armed robbers. Okay, so this ghetto leader actually announced to the team that this year of 2026 they are going to transform. So for that matter, no one should actually go ahead and then was steal. But one of his was team members that actually was take the advice was seriously, and he actually went ahead and scaled a particular church wall into a church was premises, and he stole multiple mobile phones, ladies and gentlemen.
The oyen katiboni bia ni be yina film we menene na mo be wa committee o committee nso a wa committee de me di obi a minim no en men ka se menene na mo ntino me dogo no dabi esa akura ma blenya me SDF obe ya asole o ma twa fence wa akọwi o mo phone su nini peja kire o mo peja kire o mo wa jimi ana phone su nini o mo ye nipa tu baby e wo bia me na ye o mo nso na ye chinia ne akwa jeje aba.
So this is something that I really was not recommend strongly, because it's good for you. If time changes, if you actually live in a particular life which is not actually constitutional and acceptable, it is good that you go ahead and then just change your way of lifestyle. You understand me? So that you can actually also fit into the society.
Abusuya check a drip no, na check steez no. We are no what check akatano. Hey, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Now no yana free the you for the omo Jordan pub one come out President Mahama. And a President Mahama say much chemo say nya mamu nko na minim ye. Na ba kata your friend catalyst. Shade waye. Me see checking na say na hwe jeans no. Na hwe atade na hwe no. Na hwe composure ne steez ne akata no. DJ Caleb Kramba. Hey! When is Shatawale? When is Stoneboy? When is your friend say,
like, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how we actually pictured this leader of ours, President Mahama. It's actually happened to be one of the simplest presidential personalities that have actually enjoyed his administration. I could actually see as this guy, in fact, should I even say that he is malleable or controllable, or I don't actually want to use that word, because he's actually a presidential asset to the nation, of course, but he's a listenable president, and the way he mingles himself, he blends himself with ordinary people. You can actually see. I don't know how you actually picture his administration and his demeanor towards with other Ghanaians and other Africans, but it's happened to be one of the simplest presidents that have actually experienced his administration as a Ghanaian, and I really like that. Of course, a listening president, a hardworking was not president, and a Pan-Africanist was not president. We really thank God for having him, and we want him to actually continue this way. You see, even that part is what hierarchy in the presidency. Ladies and gentlemen, trust me, is humble. He's down on earth, and everyone can actually approach him. We can to narrate our issues to him, and of course he responds. Okay, we actually want him to do more. This is what we actually wanted. The previous administration. I mean, government to actually do. We believe in them. That was why we voted them into power in 2016 for them to come at them. But some of them, when they came, they actually they disappointed us. That is why we brought Mahama. And of course, Mahama is actually doing well, and we wish he can actually continue to do better, because you can actually definitely do better as a person.